দর্শক, আপনারা অনেকেই জানেন যে ভারতীয় স্টেট ব্যাংক অর্থাৎ এসবিআই একমাত্র ব্যাংক যে ইলেকটোরাল বন্ড বিক্রি করে। গত মাসে সুপ্রিম কোর্টের 5 বিচারকের বেঞ্চ ইলেকটোরাল বন্ডকে অসাংবিধানিক এবং অবৈধ বলে ঘোষণা করেছিলেন। বিচারকেরা এসবিআইকে নির্দেশ দিয়েছিলেন যে 2019 থেকে 2024 সালের বর্তমান সময় পর্যন্ত কোন রাজনৈতিক দলকে কত ইলেকটোরাল বন্ড বিক্রি করা হয়েছে তা নির্বাচন আয়োগকে জানাতে হবে। এসবিআই এই তথ্য দেবার জন্য 30 জুন পর্যন্ত সময় চেয়েছিলেন। গত সোমবার অর্থাৎ 11 মার্চ 2024 সুপ্রিম কোর্ট এসবিআই এর এই আবেদন খারিজ করে আদেশ দেন যে 12 মার্চ 2024 তারিখেই এসবিআইকে সমস্ত তথ্য দিতে হবে এবং 15 মার্চ 2024 বিকেল 5টার মধ্যে তাদের ওয়েবসাইটে এটা প্রকাশ করতে হবে। সব দেখে মনে হচ্ছে যে 2024 সাধারণ নির্বাচনের আগে গোটা দেশের মানুষই ভারতের সবথেকে বড় দুর্নীতির খোঁজ পাবেন আগামীকাল বিকেল 5টায়।
15th February.
By judgment dated 15 February 2024, this court declared the electoral bond scheme and the provisions of the Finance Act 2017, which amended the provisions of the Representation of the People Act 1951 and the Income Tax Act 1961 unconstitutional. That the non-disclosure of information regarding the funding of political parties is violative of the right to information of citizens under Article 19, bracket 1, bracket A of the Constitution. Full stop. The amendments which were introduced by the Finance Act 2017 to the provisions of the Companies Act 2013, permitting unlimited funding of political parties by corporate entities were held to be arbitrary and violative of Article 14 of the Constitution. Full stop. Next para. In order to give full effect to the judgment which was rendered by the Constitution Bench, this court directed the State Bank of India, footnote SBI, which was the authorized bank to deal with electoral bonds under the electoral bond scheme, to submit details of the electoral bonds purchased by the contributors and redeemed by political parties between 12 April 2019, into brackets, the date on which an interim order was passed by this court directing the Election Commission of India, footnote ECI, to collect details of the contributions, bracket, till 15 February 2024, bracket, the date of the judgment, full stop. This court directed SBI to submit the following details by 6 March 2024 to the ECI. A. Details of each electoral bond purchased, including the date of purchase, the name of the purchaser, and the denomination of the electoral bond, semicolon, and B. Details of each electoral bond redeemed by political parties, including the date of encashment and the denomination of the electoral bond. Stop. The ECI was directed to collate the information which was to be submitted by the SBI and publish it on its website by 13 March 2024. Stop. The directions of this court are extracted below, colon, आप copy कर लीजिए, para 219 at page 76.
Lord, it's 221, page 76 of the application.
The SCC has a, all right, आप ऐसा कर लीजिए, ये para ऐसा है 219, 221 जो भी आप ले लीजिए. It may be on SCC online, it's 221. The para begins with the words, in view of our discussion above.
Yes.
Okay, the following directions are issued. And the last word which you will copy down is the purchaser's account. SBI filed a miscellaneous application before this court 2 days before the expiry of the deadline, seeking an extension of time until 30 June 2024 for complying with the directions. Stop. The petitioners before this court, Association for Democratic Reforms, and the Communist Party of India, Marxist, instituted contempt proceedings, instituted a petition invoking the contempt jurisdiction of this court against SBI for an alleged willful disobedience of the order of this court. Full stop. In support of the application by SBI, I've heard Mr. Harish N. Salve, learned senior counsel. Full stop. Mr. Salve submitted that the information which was received by the SBI was maintained in 2 separate silos and was maintained with the utmost secrecy so as to fulfill the core purpose of the electoral bond scheme. Full stop. Learned counsel submitted that if the disclosure is to be made of the information required to be submitted by SBI to ECI in the separate silos which are referred to in B and C of the operative directions, there would be no difficulty in SBI doing so, which, it has been indicated, would be completed within 3 weeks. However, it has been submitted that the difficulty of SBI arose since it construed the directions of this court in requiring it to carry out a matching exercise to match the donor details, the donor and bond details with the corresponding details pertaining to encashment by political parties. While evaluating the submission which has been made on behalf of SBI, SBI is mandated to disclose information when demanded by a court. Full stop. What remains to be seen, what has to be analyzed is whether SBI is justified in seeking an extension of time. Thus, information about a political party's encashment of electoral bonds would be stored only in these branches, which would be clearly accessible. Slips and other details would have to be submitted to the main branch. Full stop. There is no dispute about the fact, as there cannot be, that this process was duly followed. Together with the application which has been filed by SBI for the extension of time, ADR has filed a contempt petition in which it submits that the information which was directed to be disclosed by this court can easily be disclosed by SBI because of the unique number which is printed on the electoral bond. Full stop. Irrespective of whether the unique identification number, which is not discernible to the naked eye, will enable the disclosure of details, the submissions of SBI in the application sufficiently indicate that the information which has been directed to be disclosed by the court is readily available. Next. In view of the above discussion, the miscellaneous application filed by SBI seeking an extension of time for the disclosure of details of the purchase and redemption of electoral bonds until 30 June 2024 is dismissed. Full stop. SBI is directed to disclose the details at the close of the business hours, 12 March 2024. Full stop. As regards the ECI, we direct that ECI shall compile the information and publish the details in its official website no later than by 15 March, by 5 p.m. on 15 March 2024.